So hey guys, today's going to be a little different for the Marked Mage bio. As you can see, this video is really fucking short for some reason. I don't know why. In the new editing program I have, it seems to mess with the timestamps, and that's all I'm going to say for right now, because, yeah, I want to get onto my character, I want to get onto my boy, I want to get onto Alador Romosco, which I'm probably pronouncing very terribly, because this being is Russian, or at least my world's version of Russian, and he is last on the trio list. Now, the trio is, again, the youngest set of mages, and as I said previously, he is the last boy, because in the current generation, there are only 3 males, and that is Ringmaster, Alador, and Tybalt. And Ringmaster's in his own little league, so with Alador, he is the trio of the little, he's the trio of the bunch. Great rambles, Michelle. He's the leader of the trio, and he is also a very special mage. I say this about all of my babies because they are all special in their own way. But he is the air mage, and he is the first mage to, well, I shouldn't say first, but he is the set of mage that has always been raised by the mythical creatures of my world. They, in fact, were always raised by the my world's version of vampires, which are based much more on actual vampire bats than actual, like, vampires we know today. But, I mean, vampire lore has been around there forever, so I could do a whole video on that on its own. But the cool part about that is the fact that since he has an understanding of both worlds like that, he is, when he was able to awaken and get all of his powers, he actually had a step up compared to every other mage of this current generation, except for my time mage. But we'll talk about that when her bio gets done, which will probably be next month, because I have been in a mood to redraw hers, because her bio is, hers is almost as old as the other ones. But let's talk a little bit about Alador. So when I originally made Alador, he was actually supposed to be the, like, pretty boy, stuck-up, leader stereotype character, and I decided to change that as time went on because it just didn't fit what I wanted for him. It didn't fit why Adrian and Tybalt would be his friends, and it's a lot of other things, and so I realized I had to make him a lot more humble, and it made more sense for his character. He is still cocky when he knows he's right, because he's still a teenager, and everyone who was a teenager at one point, when you think you know something, you're gonna be a little cocky about it, because you're like, well, I know it. And they don't, so I want to help him. And not in the douchebaggy way. But another fun thing is he is actually, compared to Lorelei, he is actually one of my other most rich characters. Because of the fact that of how he was raised, the vampires don't need any humanly things, and they don't need the possessions of their victims. They end up all giving it just to Alador, so he ends up being this teenager with, like, shit tons of money. And so he ends up using that money to help his friends out and bail out of jams, but he never actually tells anyone how much money he has, because he's worried that it could change his friendship a little bit. And so that actually is a whole story arc in its own right. Not that he hides it or he's ashamed of it. It's just he understands from how his best friends came from that they don't have the luxuries he has, you know? But he also has had to see a lot of things and go through a lot of things that they haven't had to do, and he never wants them to have to witness. Again, being raised by vampires, this means that Alador has seen death and murder and a lot of blood, on top of the magical side of things that makes a little bit more sense for all the bad things going on. In a lot of their adventures, Alador is always the more cool and collected one when trying to think through plans and try to get through everyone's, you know, try to pretty much get through a mission, finger quote, with the best success. And that's for everyone around, not just for his friends, but for everyone. And in doing so, it can be hard because a lot of the times Adrian and Tybalt, they see things, they see things from the victim perspective. Adrian sees how her family's had to hide her. Tybalt comes to terms with the fact that he had to go into isolation because of who he was born as, something you can't control, while Alador tries to help them without shattering them. Well, there is bad in our world. This thing isn't black and white. What's happening, there's a reason for it, And it does make sense. Now, granted, a lot of people do take it to the extremes, but that's how histories always were. So he tries to help his friends by being the median and the middle ground and being like, no, maybe we should understand. Maybe the knights this time aren't doing bad. Maybe this thing is bad. You know, we shouldn't just put everything in a blanket term and just, you know, these people are bad, these people are good. Sometimes good people have to do bad things for good reasons, and vice versa. You know, so that's why I really like his character being, you know, a very humble leader. And I think that's all I can bring up. But if you want to know more about him, I have his bio and info all on my DA. I've always have my social medias and my descriptions below. I guess I have to start saying that now because people don't know. But yeah, that seems like all my time's up for now. I hope you guys like this mage bio, and hopefully I get this time thing figured out so my next videos aren't under such a time crunch. And as always, guys, I will see you next time. Bye!